Oh yes, oh yes, oh yes. Oh yes, oh yes. Here we are. Here we are. Rocking in space. Doing some repairs because I don't want any slip-ups tonight. I've got to look good for my old friend tonight because he's a way seasoned broadcasting pro, and from not only from currently but back in the day. So I'll be asking him about that. Bob Buchmann, WBAB. Now, yeah, no kidding. This is going to be cool, and I'm really looking forward to it because I do remember actually the last time I talked or communicated with Bob. He's been in LA for a while, and we'll talk about that. You know, that's why we have the show, so we can tell stories and stuff. So what else? Let's see, what else is exciting today? Do we have anything else exciting today? You're not listening to you? I gotta wait for 30 seconds. I told you she found out about headphones now.
Listen to this and see if there's some reverb in there.
If there's some reverb in there? Nah, there's not.
Now I know
Sorry,
about
guys,
reverb too.
I don't hear any reverb, but
no.
I have to. It's on.
Ooh, you threw my headphones.
Take this trash away. Be gone with this trash.
Well, you wanted the sound to be perfect for tonight. I
didn't say that. I just don't want. I did not. I did not say I want. You know what? If I listen to your headphones now, listen to them in 30 seconds and see what it sounds like now. I'm not making fun of you or anything.
Yeah.
I'm not.
Never.
Never.
No, never.
Okay.
Okay. Let's see now.
Well, it should be coming in a minute or two. I mean, I'm up there doing my best on the satellite to try to get.
Oh, now it's really reverby.
Okay, and when it stops, you'll know that that was not it. Okay. So, I should really jump into the clip because if I know Bob Buchmann, he will be right on time.
Well, he's from radio where...
Yeah, he's been in radio. He was the program director at BAB, and I don't want to get his credits all screwed up. I know he worked on the West Coast. I'm believing it was KLOS, and then I think he went somewhere else. But needless to say, the guy's made a career in broadcasting, and I would say radio, but it's far beyond just radio, although that's where he started on BAB on the island. And so, well, Steve, how are you going to play a clip? I worked out a clip, guys, because WBAB invited Rat Race Choir to submit a song for their second homegrown their second homegrown album, Son of Homegrown. And this next song that I will play for you is from that album.
Okay.
Yeah. Rat Race Choir, Son of Homegrown. WBAB. Wait, listen. I'm glad we're on that thing.
Right. But it sounded like that was the name of the song from Rat Race Choir.
It is. No, that's... It is. It's Son of Homegrown. Oh, is that homegrown? Yeah, man.
It's
actually the Son of Homegrown. I grew this myself. It's the seeds from the plant that I home grew the last time.
Right, so it's
all
the
right.
setup.
I feel like I've been struck by lightning.
She wrote the
Oh, there you go. That was nice. I get the towel anyway. Thank you. Thank you very much.
You're very welcome.
So, yeah. Homegrown album. We were on...
Son of.
That was Son of Homegrown. We were on another Homegrown album. Another radio station.
And they called it Homegrown?
Excuse me. I don't remember. I'd have to go look. But it doesn't really matter. That doesn't really matter at all. No. So, watch this. Oh, that's the wrong thing. Never mind. Don't watch that.
No.
Don't watch that. Where
No.
I thought I had another one.
It's 7:09. He's supposed to be here at 7.
Yeah, he'll be here, and I don't know.
Oh, Pat Romano, WPDA?
Yeah.
No.
H, Pat.
WPDH, Pat.
H.
But we don't want to say that in Bob Buchmann.
Yeah, no, we don't want to be calling out another.
It's WBAB.
Yeah, it's WBAB. Wabab. Okay, so let's see. What happened to my other commercial? I played another commercial. I don't know.
You made a new one.
Yeah, no, I don't want to play that very brand new one. Oh, but I will tell you this. While you're on the subject. We're having a sale on the shirts for Christmas. Everybody's Black Friday in already. I'm Black Friday in too.
They're Black Friday in through the season.
So am I.
Put up their Christmas already.
You know, we got taken out of the game all the end of last year. I think I told you guys that we were in the middle of negotiating a deal with Saks.
Fifth Avenue.
Saks Fifth Avenue.
But
And
we're glad
I mean, I got the letter that said welcome to Saks. I got the whole thing. And that was about a year ago. Mm-hmm. And so closed everything up. Had just a couple of retailers that have been there since the beginning, but everything else shut it down. Saks is going to take all my inventory, bang. So I said, well, you know what, do we have enough time to get it here for the holidays? They said, oh, no, we'll do it for next fall. Oh, a guest has arrived.
Yep.
Do it for next fall.
And then
COVID happened.
2020 happened.
2020 happened. Come in. Okay. Oh, well, you know what, Bob? He's here. So
He's
anyway.
here, yeah.
So let me go. I'm just finishing up. Why is it not on here? Bob, see, I don't have that production crew that you had. All right. So anyway, finishing the story, we were down for a whole year, which means everything that I had at this time last year never got sold anywhere. So we figured, let's have a sale. So check out the site, and you're thinking, oh, I want to get something for my wife. Well, we've got stuff for her too. You got to go look. So anyway, my guest, I just played the Homegrown album, Son of Homegrown. And here you are, man. You got me okay?
That Laurie in the background.
That is Laurie in the background.
Right.
My producer of all things but children.
On purpose.
Yeah, it's planned that way. But yeah. I finally got her.
Hello, Steve. It's great to see your face after so long.
Good to see yours too, man. Good to see yours too. You look the same. That's, I put up. I played "Struck by Lightning" from Son of Homegrown, and you guys are all around the van, if I remember correctly.
At the beach.
At the beach.
That's right.
But I knew which one were you? Because that's an old picture.
Yeah. Jesus, there were so many of us in the sand, and we put the rock van on the sand at Fire Island, and of course, stupid us, it wasn't 4-wheel drive, so we got stuck, and we needed a whole bunch of listeners to push us out.
And I'll bet they're still telling those stories today, man. That's history. That's history.
Yeah.
So, man, it's really good to see you. Do you remember the last time we communicated?
Must have been, if I'm not, correct me if I'm wrong, I was at Q104 in New York City, program director, and you came in because John Entwistle was playing in Times Square, I think,
Yeah, I'd have to look it up, but yeah, we were doing, yeah.
Yeah, so you and the band and he were playing, and you were not only big, as a a guy who really added to his music, but also philanthropically, right? You helped him with his foundation.
Well, yeah, I mean what that was. Well, just to go there and clean that one up. When he passed, there was no foundation, and what happened was Pete, Roger, and the family asked me to read the eulogy at his memorial service in London at St. Martin's in the Field, which I did, and then we all, went to a pub to, honor this, august occasion. Jimmy Page. I mean, you can imagine who was there. It was insane.
That's incredible.
And and his mother said to me, I don't want him to disappear like Mooney did. I said, he's never going to disappear like Mooney did. There's too much going on. I said, all you have to do, if you really want to keep it going, is start a foundation. And she said, great, you'll run it. What?
Yeah. She had no other children.
Yeah, she had no other children, and Chris, John's son, was probably not about to. So yeah, so that's how that whole thing started, because we were those kind of friends, for all those years. It was
so great. Yeah.
But
right, was that the last time I saw you?
You're correct, because it's the last time that you saw me. But the last time we communicated was about you and a white Aston Martin DB9.
Oh, that's awesome. I was lent one in Los Angeles. Do you remember that?
I certainly do, because I remember because I had just gotten mine, and I was so psyched that somebody I knew had an Aston Martin. I was like, oh God, I gotta. And I had a DB7 at the time, which I bought from Brian Johnson. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, I know you worked with Brian Johnson. In fact, I think, did you somebody brought Brian Johnson and a band, and were you maybe in the band for that thing that after, it was an AC/DC break, and God, was it 12 or 13 years ago? How did that happen?
That's also my fault. I moved to Florida like 16 years ago, and when I first came down here, I had no idea, what I was going to do down here. We always vacationed here. I would get done with a tour with John or whatever I was doing with Leslie or whoever, and then we would immediately go to Sanibel Island because they were dog friendly. We'd bring the dog down. And so when we moved here, I knew that I was not going to be playing on the beach. And
no Margaritaville.
No Margaritaville for me. And long story short, I wound up putting on a hurricane relief party because we had some hurricanes in 04 and 05 that were pretty devastating. So I called a bunch of friends, and the guys from Loverboy and Rick and Robin from Cheap Trick, and it just a pretty eclectic crew. Eddie Money, did I say Loverboy, and and Cliff and Brian from AC/DC. Yeah, Joe. There was a ton of Foreigner was there. Yeah, so I got to play all my favorite songs. But after the concert, I kind of became friendly with Cliff, the bass player, because he is a neighbor. So it's like you find another one, it's like, oh God, somebody that understands. We could talk shop. And one thing led to another, and AC/DC wasn't touring, and I said to him, if you ever want to jam, my guitar player has a room in my house. I'll have him come down and we can just play. And he said, well, my singer lives in Sarasota. And I was like, oh, okay. So I said, well, let's, so Mark Hitt was my guitar player from New York. Mark and I wrote some songs. Cliff put some bass on them. We sent them to Brian. He started scratching out some lyrics, and all of a sudden he came down and they wanted me to produce the record, which I was happy to do, but the only thing I didn't have was a recording studio. And I said to myself, well, what am I going to do? There's not, I'm not in New York where every other corner there's a top shelf place. So we managed to eke something out. We found a place that was half tape, half digital, and we recorded Brian and I and Mark wrote almost a whole album's worth of stuff. It was like 7 songs. And he said, let's go play some gigs, me son. And I said, well, okay, I know how to do that too. Ah, yeah, don't be shy. Your mother wasn't. You know, I mean, and let me tell you what it's like dealing with that. I mean, it's just what a trip. But the fact that both him and Cliff just trusted me based on my whatever reputation they did or didn't know about, it was cool. So then when Brian wanted to do the tour, I said, well, you know, we have to kind of have a reason to do it, you know what I mean? And so that's probably where you picked up the John Entwistle thing, because by then we had formed the John Entwistle Foundation, and the only way that I knew how to raise money was by doing gigs, you know, or doing shows or doing whatever. I wasn't into the whole auction thing. I didn't know anything about that. So we went out, we paid our expenses, and we wound up being able to open 3 pretty serious music rooms in Children's Hospital. One was named for Brian, one named for Cliff. I think the one in, was it Atlanta?
Yeah.
It would be the one from, and it was amazing. So that's how those things happen. So you'll love this story. Well, you're out in L.A., so do you know APA?
Help me.
The agency.
Oh, yeah, I know of them. Uh-huh.
Okay, well, anyway, Brian says, well, you might as well book a proper tour. And I said, oh, okay. And I booked, like, I don't even want to tell you how much money and how many amazing, the offers came in like amazing, because the band was really good. And on Brian's 60th birthday, he decides that he's going to have 3 birthday parties, one in Italy, one in the UK, and one here in Florida. So he rents out a boat that we're going to go on. We're going to go around in the bay on this boat so no one can attack us, you know, or whatever it is. And Cliff is late to get to the party, right? And I'm all psyched. I mean, now we've got a tour coming up next, you know, the following year, and I'm like, come on, this is a dream. And, you know, realize a handful of years before that, I had just lost John Entwistle. So, you know, this was like, all right. So Cliff gets there, and he said, I'm sorry I'm late, man, but I got some bad news. I said, bad news? He said, yeah, we got a call from the brothers. They want us to do an album, and we're supposed to leave for Vancouver. Uh-oh.
Wow.
Well, because their management had
all right, so here's the show. This is where you come into play, or where another glance off. Of course, I book, I think, 2 nights or one, whatever, at BB King's, because I know those people. It's instant, whatever it is, and it's, you know, been there a million times with John or whoever. And Alvin Handworker came down with Steve, Barnett from Sony. Alvin Handworker is AC/DC's manager. So they come, and they're sitting in the dressing room, and we go on stage, and we were on fire, because we had been out on the road, and New York was the end of the tour. I mean, it was great. We played great.
I was there. I saw it.
Oh, so there you go. And
Jim Brewer came out.
Yeah, and Jim Brewer came out doing his hokey pokey or whatever. And Steve Barnett said to Cliff, you know, what's up? And he said, well, I don't know. What do you think? And he said, what are you waiting for? And that's all Alvin Handworker had to have here. And the next thing is you all got black ice, and you're welcome.
Yeah.
And when Brian, I'll tell you a funny thing about that. They left. They hung around for a month. I had to untangle some of the stuff that we had done, and we were wrapping up some mixes on stuff. And so Brian calls me when they get to Vancouver, and he goes, Stevie, me son, they don't have any songs. I said, well, let them borrow some of ours. Oh, no. But he said, but we're just hanging around. I said, it'll be great. And then he came back, and I heard the record, and it was like, okay, go clean up 300 million and leave me in the dust. That's showbiz, man.
That's showbiz. Yeah. Isn't that something?
So let's talk about you, bro. Yeah. Let's go all the way back, rewind, all the way back to BAB. How did that happen? How did that happen? Because I don't know.
It's, you know, so much of life is luck and timing. I don't care what anybody says, right? You have all these people who believe that, that they got this gig because they have so much talent or, but the truth is luck and timing is a part of everything for everybody. So I was graduating college, and just at that point, this little radio station on Long Island with me.
Oh, I lost you for a second.
Frozen.
You still there? Uh-oh. Hang
back,
tough,
Bob,
kids.
Come back.
This is why I have all the people up on the satellite. How can I write to him? Hang with me, tough guys. 1 second. He's probably telling the best story of all time.
I know.
Oh, okay. He bounced out. He'll come back.
Okay.
So we'll remember
I
where
can't
we
wait
were.
to hear this story. Yeah, he was in college.
Okay.
And there was a little radio station.
Little radio station.
Mm-hmm.
Luck. He'll come back in.
But he's so right about luck and timing.
Man, no kidding.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I got radioactive hair again.
Oh no, push it down. Radioactive hair.
I don't want to burn my hands. He will come back. Well, you know what? Haha. How about I play you my new commercial? I knew you wanted to hear it. Here it comes. We'll be right back.
Radioactive hair.
This isn't even it. Oh, goodness. Goodness gracious. That's it. Huge savings, holiday sale.
All right, I'm going to check the chicken.
Where are you going now? She's checking the chicken.
Well,
Choking the chicken?
no.
All right, well, we'll wait for Bob to come back.
Chicken.
We'll wait for Bob to come
Hey,
back.
Remy?
I gotta go up. I'll go up there and sit.
Where is Bob?
I don't know. We lost him, but he'll come back. He will come back. So where was I? I was on the ISS. I'm not sure where Bob is. He's probably, he's a pro. He'll figure it out. So do we have the music? Yeah, we do. So, guys, hurry up out there. Guys, hurry up. We need more bandwidth. What do you start a band with? Spit in a prayer. Interesting. I guess that had to be that Son of Homegrown album had to be 80s because we didn't record those tracks until I think 81, and it was Jack Kotop that was the keyboard player on those there songs. And that was it was funny, our manager at the time said, we were talking about what we were going to have as the A side and what we were going to have as the B side. Now, and of course that's when your ego gets all flexed out, and that was a very strange time for us. It was I don't know. Things were changing in the 80s. The whole scene was changing, and Dave and I each wrote a song. And you go back and listen to the single. Dave's song was absolutely a pop hit. Mine was definitely a B-side. What's this? His internet crashed. No worries. I'll leave the call open and I will entertain our guests. We can always pick it up when he's available. This is real time, guys. I tell you what, this is what I used to love about gigs. When you're a kid and you're in a band, you don't have a lot of money, So you don't have spares. You know, now I have frickin' spare everything 3 times. My redundancy is usually in threes. 3 sets of heads, 3. Well, that's not true because I don't. Well, anyway, you get the point. When you're kids, stuff breaks, you have to fix it. And if it breaks on stage, you have to fix it on stage, which means it's time for me to, you know, start telling jokes and doing my tap dance routine. I loved it. I loved stretching on stage. It was like this. I mean, you know, Bob's internet crashed. We're live here. This is not something that we edit later and then paste back together. And the thing about that is, you know, I like live. I think Rat Race Choir, as far as hours, was 100 to 1 easily in live hours to studio hours, at least. And I don't know. I'm just grabbing. And we recorded quite a bit. But anyway, it was the live thing that I always loved. I liked recording. I liked writing songs and producing stuff. But I liked playing live the best. It was like the difference between playing a video game or really skiing or racing a car. And when you have a car that runs like that, you know, when you have a Lewis Hamilton frickin' Mercedes Silver Arrow, it's cool to drive it around. And I had a lot of fun driving around in that one. Years. More fun than I guess you should ever really have, according to some people. But I'm about the fun. If it's not fun. And look, it's not like everything has to be fun every minute of the day. Where'd my producer go? I hear things happening in the kitchen. It's not like, I mean, things do have to be fun, but it's just not reality. Things are not fun every minute of the day. So what do you do about that? Well, I've found that if you're unhappy about something in your life and whatever, put it into perspective. Because now I look back and all of the things that I thought were, and I've said this before, you know, all the successes I filed under failure. I realize everything from the Brian Johnson, Cliff Williams story that I just told to John and the Who or whatever. That was my role to play in all of those situations. It wasn't meant to be any other way but the way it was.
He didn't come back yet?
Who? No, I don't think he's coming back.
What?
I don't think his internet. Angus, do you hear this?
What?
What?
His
I'm
internet.
going to go back to this because I'm not coming along.
That's so funny because you were trying.
Well, wait a minute. What am I doing way down here? You want to listen to that in 30 seconds, okay?
Okay.
So I'm back on the main mic. Listen, that shit happens. You know, when our power went out that night, when the lightning storm, that was that. And if his internet crashed, so be it. I get to tell you more stories. And
I was interested in hearing that.
Yeah, I was too.
So we'll have to have him on.
Well, yeah, we'll definitely have him on. If we don't have anybody for Tuesday, Angus, reschedule. What? He's great. I mean,
why did he contact Angus and tell him his internet crashed?
I guess that's what happened. Yeah. And you know,
Gail said fixed now. What was wrong?
What's fixed now?
I don't know.
I don't know what. When I don't know when we get their messages or what they're responding to.
I don't know.
Fixed now.
Well, I told you I don't think they can write a whole lot.
You don't think what? They can write a whole lot?
No. I
They
have
can-
not seen like whole sentences.
I got to tell you, this is starting to wear me out a little bit.
You hear?
Yeah, it's getting like stupid.
I'll cut it.
It's. We've gone through that. It's just getting. I mean, it's like. Thankfully, it's curly, so it doesn't. You know.
Oh, TV said it was out of sync.
It was out of sync.
Oh, that.
Because
Gail
because here, I'll show you why. Because I have to delay the Zoom audio by 750 milliseconds in order to make it match up. wanted to make it match up with the delay. I'm telling you, look what we have to do just to get, and still not working right. No, it's a lot of shit here. I mean, this is just a lot to do. I couldn't do it without my producer.
Right, and your little friend there.
What little friend?
The one who...
Oh yeah, I forgot. I didn't move him around. I thought I should put him
The
somewhere.
ghosts are active tonight.
They certainly are.
What does he say? The ghosts are active tonight?
Oh, the ghosts are moving tonight.
Ghosts are moving tonight.
Oh,
What do they usually sit there? They're very still.
Ghosts are moving tonight. I don't know. You want to hear what he says?
No, I want to talk about...
Hey, wait a minute.
The ghosts are moving tonight.
The ghosts are moving tonight.
Okay. Let's
Okay.
talk about Rockefeller.
The owl?
Yeah. He's so cute.
And there's already, how fast does this shit happen? They find an owl in the Rockefeller tree.
No, the toy was not his. That was just one.
Oh,
of
it's
those
just
kind
one
of
that
owls.
exists?
Yeah.
But how many, are there barred owl
Yeah.
flushes? Is
Yeah.
it owl, every kind of owl?
Yeah.
No, so we can't talk
Some
about
people
that.
are into owls, but you can talk about him.
The little owl?
Yeah.
I don't really know him.
He's the smallest owl that there is in the Northeast, and he looks like a baby. And he was wrapped up in the tree, like before they cut the tree down, they wrap it in stuff. And he was in there and couldn't get out, and he traveled all the way to New York City.
Well, where was he? He was upstate New York?
Yeah.
He was in there for 3 days with no food,
No water.
no water. He was badly dehydrated, and they saved his ass.
We brought him to wildlife rehabilitation.
Put him in a box and called people, and
And they did a GoFundMe, and he's already got like $7,000.
he's in New York City with $7,000.
No,
Gonna
he
have
left
himself
the
a
city. He
time.
left the city. He's in a rehab. He had to get out of the city to
You
go
know,
to rehab.
that reminds me of Sam Kinison.
Oh, God. Really?
Yeah, it really does.
And-
Sam Kinison said once,
Oh, right.
he said, Betty Ford, if you have a drug problem, you got to go to Betty Ford.
Right.
You got a drug problem, real bad drug problem, real bad. You got to go to Betty Ford. Now, this is going back years and years. And
When he was alive.
when he was alive. Yeah. Said it when he might have said it after he was gone, but said it when he was alive. He said, you know how much it is to go to Betty Ford for 6 weeks back then? $35,000. He said, $35,000 to get rid of your drug problem. If you still got $35,000, you don't really have a drug problem yet.
Yeah. How right was that, huh?
Mad Sam. Mad Sam. I got to look for that tape. Now that everybody's dead, I can probably start playing some of this stuff. I would never do that. I would never do that. I was so disappointed because it was twofold. I don't know if you remember what I'm talking about. I went out to play with John and whistle, and that was the time that I played with Eddie Van Halen. It was the NAMM show, and everybody was there. And I was very excited, as I get. And I had my roadie learning to film, I had a VHS camera, and I said, you got to hold it here and do it. Anyway, and I said, when the light's on, you'll know, and this and that and the other thing. And I said, just, when we start playing, just hit record once, put it down on the board, and get it, let it run out. I don't care if the battery dies, just let it go. And when I couldn't watch it because it's dead, and I didn't bring the charger with me, so I got to wait till I get all the way back to New York from Anaheim to plug it in and charge up the recorder, the camera, and play it back. And it was one of those VHS-C, the little ones. If anybody has an adapter for that, I'll make you a copy. The little VHS-C cassettes, right? So I put it in the camera beeps up, I plug it in, I'm all good. I wire it up to the television, and I hit play, and it does that, the VCR thing where the rainbow goes up and down and the static, and all of a sudden when it comes in, it's the dressing room at the end of the long table with people doing blow and smoking joints, and Sam with a bag in front of him and 2 drinks, and you would think, holy shit, I could sell this to TMZ for $1 million, but no. First of all, I would not do that. And second of all, I was bummed because I wanted to see all the people I played with. Played with Sam, played with Leslie, played with T.M. Stevens.
TM was great.
Played with Van Halen, and who else was on that stage? Who else was there? Leslie, T.M., John, of course. Well, anyway, so you know. But that's what I have is a TMZ tape.
Yeah.
And it's not like I would show it, or I might show it. If you were here, you might be able to see it, because you couldn't take it with you, and you'd have to leave your phone at the whatever, but I'd show it to you. Don't come by, because I don't know where it is. But if you do come by...
you don't have that little adapter thing.
Yeah, you got to bring the VHS-C adapter. Mm-hmm. And then I've got to find where it is. I know where it is, because I keep all that stuff in a safe place.
All that stuff?
Yeah, believe me, you know what I have.
Yeah.
Think about it.
I know what you got.
The tour bus videos alone.
Oh.
The hotels.
Mm-hmm.
I was a videographer in '96.
That's right.
Bought a brand new, whatever it was, and I was going to document the whole tour.
It was a video camera.
Yeah, video camera. But it was 8mm or something. It was littler cassettes. The littler cassettes, like we use in the DA-88, 98. And so, you know, my thing with the band was, guys, you know, when I pull out the camera, just act natural, because, you know, maybe this turns into something. It's when we were still looking for a record deal, which we eventually got. And it was just, you know, licensed to film whatever I wanted.
Right.
And also, you know, but I was given a license by my producer to actually be the cameraman. I was not allowed to touch or be touched.
Well, did you want to touch or be touched? So there's that.
No, I didn't know. I did not want to touch and be touched. Not by
strippers.
It was mostly strippers. I don't remember those one girls, that one pack. You know, it's like wild dogs. They came in packs. No, it was this one tour. They came in packs, 5, 7 girls at a time, and you've seen the tapes. Not bad-looking girls. Mm-hmm. Not like. I mean, you know what I'm saying. I know you know what I'm saying. Don't make me say something I'll regret later. But remember, this one girl was in the front lounge, and she had and she was a professional disrober, and she had nipple rings. And I said, "Hey guys, give me a couple of backstage passes. Give me a couple of backstage passes." And so they did, and of course they left a lanyard on it, right? Which, okay. And so she starts doing the professional stripper thing that makes whatever's on.
Yeah, what does she do with that in the strip club, I wonder? What does she put in those nipple rings?
I don't know what she does it with, but she's obviously done it before, and I'm just watching John Entwistle's head going around like this, right? So, watching all of our heads go around like that. And so I had to, you know, I mean...
But she was like, you can film me, just don't put my face on the
internet.
internet.
Yeah, just don't put my face on the internet. You can film, I don't care if you film me, but don't put my face on the internet.
Yeah. So she was cool with it.
Just don't put my face. You can put my tits and my flapping...
Backstage passes.
Backstage passes, you can put that on the internet. And you can put, I guess we could have published her name. But it was weird. I mean, it was...
Did she give you her name? Strippers use different names.
Who asked?
They use different names than their real names.
Who pretends to be Priscilla? There was nobody on that bus named Priscilla. Penicillin maybe, but not Priscilla. So, and it was weird. I remember that whole tour, and I think I know who was responsible for a lot of this.
A lot of what?
A lot of the packs that were all of a sudden on the bus. There was like 4.
Billy.
Well, kind of Billy, but nah. I mean, yeah, Billy, but I think it. Well, you know.
Uh-huh.
I think that's where it was.
Yeah, the hair guy.
The hair guy. Like nobody's going to figure that out.
Right.
Well, he's divorced now, isn't he?
Yep.
Okay. And I don't think his daughter watches the show.
No.
So I'm flying along through space, and I remember that on one of these ones, there was like a tattooed group, right? There was a serious hardcore strippers, right? 4 or 5 of them. I have to go back and consult the videotape. And all tatted up, and those were the ones that had the nipple ring one. That was that group. And that was also Hitler,
Right.
which John liked dark-headed girls, right?
Yes.
And these girls, it wasn't like, hey, can we film you? They're pulling shit off. I mean, it was just ridiculous. And so one of the other musicians puts on Stevie Ray Vaughan, the sleaziest song that you can find, and they start, it's like Dance of the Living Dead. All of a sudden, they
on the tour bus.
they come to life and they start doing their thing. And I remember John was with the brunette one. She was wearing a black and white shirt. Someday I'll maybe show an edited version. And he puts his hands, and she's got her legs up, flying in the air like this with high heels on, and she pulls her panties aside, and you can see that she's got a landing strip. Right? We know what a landing strip is?
I do.
I know you do.
It's like a Brazilian wax.
Yeah, it's like a Brazilian wax. She has a Brazilian wax. And John looks down and goes, looks like Hitler.
And
Okay.
it pissed her off.
That pissed her off. I don't know if she was Jewish or what it was, but it pissed her off. I mean, of all the things you can say to somebody, John.
You're not getting laid that way.
And that was that.
That was that.
That was that.
Back
And
on.
so, when we wound up in the next city, they got out of the bus, like looking around, like, where are we? Well, we're in Austin or whatever. I think we got him in Houston, and we dropped him off in Dallas. I don't remember what it was. We had to pay for a cab. John had to pay for a cab for them all to go home because Hitler wasn't coming up to the... I mean, that was it. It was over.
No, Hitler was in the room. Because when you were in the hotel...
You're right.
Yeah.
You watched that film, too.
Of
See
course
how
I
cool
did.
is that? And I'll tell you another funny thing about that film. And I've been trying to figure... You've actually seen parts of it. I've showed parts of the acceptable portions. But, I mean, I'm walking into the bathroom with the video camera, and there's one of the musicians and this tattooed devil woman with some kind of a white substance and bare breasts, which were offered to me, but I declined. I didn't like the devil part, I don't like this. I like my,
She had a devil
like my
tattooed
tits with
on
no
her.
blue hands tattooed on
There
them.
was devil hands tattooed on her
It was
tits.
all coming up the side of her, and the musician had her shirt up around her neck, and freaking crazy. Nice tits, but I mean, the devil hand ruined it for me.
Yeah.
But so these are the kind of things, and of
This
course,
guy's looking at you like very curiously.
yeah, because he was on the bus, that guy.
Yeah. 'Cause-
That's Billy.
Oh, he's disappeared. The
The
ghosts are moving.
Oh, yeah. Well, what can you do? They're moving tonight. He's moving tonight. He really is moving tonight.
Yeah, he's moving all around.
He's in it.
Yep.
He's certainly, and that's, that's what he should be doing.
Yeah.
Doing whatever it is he does. So, at the end of the tour, I mean, there were the crazy college girls. You remember the ones? Oh, Steve! Those ones.
Yeah. The one that made you a photo album? Those ones?
Did she make me a photo album?
The ones that lived in California?
No. These are all in the no. Made me a photo album.
Of the band?
Yeah, no. That's different. That's no.
Oh.
No, the ones that they looked like girls. Danny, the driver, was in there with one.
Oh, yeah.
And they when I walked in with the camera. Oh,
Is
really?
that Bob?
Could it be? Who knows? Okay. So where were we?
I don't know. Let's see.
Come in.
And that's how I got the job at BAB.
And I knew that was what it was going to be, and I was surprised when you told the twist at the end, man. But wow.
No. So anyway, sorry. Yeah, that's never happened to me. The entire complex completely blew out of internet. So we all got, somebody hit a telephone pole, God forbid.
Oh.
Anyhow, we're back up and running.
Cool.
But sorry.
No worries.
No.
I know how to stretch.
Yep.
Some stretch.
He's been telling stripper stories.
Yeah, I've been telling. Believe me, all I got to do is go to the stripper stories on the tour bus, and we're good to go. There's no worries ever.
So what do you say to a drummer in a 3-piece suit, Steve?
Oh.
What do you say to him?
Yeah, what do you say to a drummer in a 3-piece suit?
Never heard this one.
I don't know. Is this Buddy Rich?
You say, will the defendant please rise?
Oh. See, now I knew I could count on you for the drummer joke.
Yeah.
So the end of that story, I can answer that question in 30 seconds.
We always run over.
The original question 100 years ago was, how did you get the BAB job? I was in college. They sold it to another guy. I could then say to the new owner, who had nothing to do with the lack of ratings that this rock station had, I could say, you bought a great little potential radio station. It's a rock station, but it has no ratings. It's because it's being done wrong. And of course, it wasn't his at the time, so I could say that. It wasn't obnoxious. Anyway, I was 22. I was graduating in 2 weeks, and he met me at a Chinese restaurant in Babylon 3 times, and I had the job. That was it. I convinced him that I knew how to turn it into a winner.
Wow.
Well, so what was there courses in college that led you to that? I mean, what was the
college radio? We took a little tiny upstate New York radio station. They only had 7 stations at the time in the whole market. Wow. And we went from number 7 to number 1, and we were just a bunch of college kids. So that's kind of, I just shared that story, and I'm saying, I can do that for you.
That's awesome, man. So that's cool. That's cool. And then, obviously, you became the program director at BA, or were you always the
Very
PD?
quick, yeah. I was he hired a program director before he met me. So he said, okay, you be the program consultant. So it was a stupid title, but it was great because it got me in the door. And 6 months later, he made me the program director. And I was the program director for 20 years. It led to the Q104 job for 10 years, which was awesome. Left New York for KLOS in Los Angeles. And then I went back to the Clear Channel guys in New York, but to their San Diego operation. And then when that ended, the greatest thing in the world happened 2 days later, and this was 2 years ago. Sirius XM called and said, do you want to run our 2 classic rock big channels? Wow. And I was like, wow, yes, yeah. Pinch me.
Wow, man.
Yeah, it was good.
That's killer, man. What a good gig that is.
It's amazing. It's a great gig because it's growing. Like, they're going to gain 800,000 subscribers this year. And we all know that 2020 sucks ass. So, I mean, on a year when FM radio stations are firing everybody in the place, it's so horrible. By luck and timing, we go back to the luck and timing story. By luck and timing, I get released by Clear Channel / iHeart. For that reason, they ran out of money. And Sirius calls, and this is a company that's hiring, not firing.
Wow.
That's nine. You know, I have a friend who has a show. Do you know Steve Ferroni?
I know of Steve Ferroni.
He does Tom Petty. I forget what it's
Tom
called.
Petty Radio.
Yeah, Tom Petty Radio.
Yeah. Oh, that's a great channel. And the thing about these artist channels, they're really partner channels. Like the Tom Petty estate is 50-50 with us in determining what goes on the air. It's remarkable how Sirius does it. Like the Beatles channel is a partnership with the friggin' Beatles.
Wow.
Which is it's crazy, but it's true.
But doesn't that make sense? I mean, it makes sense to me. If you're an artist, you want to know that somebody cares about your catalog. Right. And there's no better way to show that you care about somebody's catalog than giving them half the power to make the decisions. I mean, that's
right.
You know,
that's right.
And then if you disagree, there's statistics and something else to sort things out with. But
sure.
Do you remember, or not remember because they're still around? Did you ever hear of Beasley Broadcasting?
Yes.
Well, they're here.
Yeah.
And when I told you that I did the hurricane relief party, it was with Beasley, and I actually wound up being a guest co-host for quite a few months on the Liz Wild show.
Oh, that's great. I know Liz.
She's here. She's got an art gallery, and she's great. But
she's great.
It's when Mickey was still on the show then, and it was just craziness, you know.
Yeah.
And that, plus doing this thing that I'm doing now, gave me a whole perspective into, you know, what our the people back in the day had to go through, sitting, you know, to playing the late night shift with nobody. You know, that's a tough gig, man. Sure.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a tough gig. But you know what? If you think about it's the way we made BAB huge. If you're alone there and you're facing a mic, or you're with Liz in the studio, or with you, or whatever, but it's a couple people, but you really know that you're there for everybody who's on the other end of the radio.
Yeah.
And there's thousands and thousands of people. And what blows my mind with Sirius XM is, you know, as big as the radio stations that I was lucky enough to program, like Q104 is the biggest FM radio station in America for rock. For rock.
It's huge.
Their weekly audience is about 3 million. So I was shocked to learn that at Sirius, each of my channels, when I got there, was at 7 million listeners a week. And now we've got it up to about 10 million listeners a week for each channel. In FM radio, that doesn't exist. So it's really wonderful.
That's amazing. Yeah. And is a question about Sirius, because I bought a car years and years and years ago, and it came with like lifetime Sirius. So
wow.
It was unbelievable. It was a nice car. But yeah, it had this.
Was it that? Whatchamacallit?
The Aston Martin? No, it was a Porsche. But
it was a Porsche. Okay.
But it came with this ridiculous German stereo in it and lifetime Sirius. And when I eventually sold the car, I told the guy, you know, get lifetime Sirius. He was like, oh. But what an amazing thing. The signal never drifts. I mean, it's like, and to have it at your disposal, be able to find whatever you want. But how many channels are there now? I know it was limited for a while.
So it's an odd question because it you know, if you look at all the online channels on the app, it's hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds, probably 1,000 channels. I don't know. But on the satellite, there's about 80 or 90 music channels and about 100 and something talk channels.
Oh, talk
So
channels.
There's a lot.
Wow.
Yeah, it's crazy.
That's cool. That's cool.
So,
that's what a great gig. But you deserve it. You were always a pro. I mean, and your resume speaks for itself. And what a cool thing, boy. That's just going up. KLOS.
it was awesome. Yeah, it was great. It was great.
And now
I'm very lucky. I started saying before the power went out, luck and timing. I'm very lucky. I have great timing.
No, it's really the truth. And the funny thing, and I talk about this on the show all the time. For me, I didn't realize, thank God for unanswered prayers, and when one thing would crash, or it meant that something else was going to start. And when I look back, from Rat Race to Entwistle to Mountain to this to that, all the crazy things that I did and still do, you can't hang on for too long. It's. Do you remember? Oh God. I don't remember. Tony Bruno.
Oh, sure. I love Tony Bruno.
I had Tony on the show last night, I think, or night before.
What band was Tony with?
Swift Kick.
Oh, Swift Kick.
Right.
Yeah, Mark Coppola, who's still a DJ at Q104 and all over New York City, and even he was with me at KGB in San Diego as well. And we were born in the same hospital in Bayshore, Long Island, 12 days apart. But Mark Coppola loves that band, Swift Kick, always to this day remembers how great Swift Kick was.
Wow. Yeah, well, I learned some very interesting things. I mean, Tony went on to play with God. His resume is like crazy. I know he did, I think it was 20 years with Enrique Iglesias. So and he was an MD. So you imagine... a musical director for you at home,
sure.
Not the doctor.
Yeah.
And so he just did some amazing gigs. He was with Joan Jett for a while. What we do. And he was talking about back in the day and this and it's amazing how interconnected we all are. And I said, well, did you realize that Alan St. John, who was the keyboard player in Swift Kick, was the first keyboard player in the John Entwistle band. And one of the guys that came to the station that day that we did, oh God, that reminds me, the day that we came to see you, do you know what even happened on that day to us?
I don't remember the day, so I'm not sure.
I don't know if we even said anything about it. We had played, I think, Foxwoods or someplace way up in Connecticut, and we were coming home on the, what is it? I don't know, whatever the parkway is that comes from Connecticut into New York, Sawmill River Parkway or whatever, and we're late to get to the station. I mean, we're late to get in there in a comfortable amount of time, allotting for an hour of traffic or whatever else. And so we come over the hill, the Merritt Parkway. Thank you very much. We come over.
Track mind.
Yeah, there you go. It takes me a while to download. And we come over a hill, and the traffic is stopped dead. And I've got Entwistle in the passenger seat. We had leased a Cadillac that we had the crew follow us around in the bus so that we would always have a car when we got to wherever we wanted to go. So somebody got to, And we had our sound man in the back. And we were heading into the city to do the broadcast. And we come over a hill, and the traffic is stopped dead. And we're right where you cross from Connecticut into New York, Pound Ridge or whatever it is. And all of a sudden, these guys, Cheech and Chong, in an old Datsun, come over the hill, never hit the brakes, and crash into the back of this Cadillac and totally destroy it. It was like the trunk was up in the air, and some of the suitcases were pushing the back seat. Sound man was like, whoa. So I
I called Lori and I said, you got to call the rental car place. We're late for, I think we were doing a whole bunch of interviews,
Yeah, you were.
satellite interview, whatever it was. I don't remember, but I remember seeing you that day, and so we were near the Westchester Airport. And Lori said, I'll call him up. And she said, blah, 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 John Entwistle on his way to the city, radio interviews. And they said, all right, we'll have another car ready as soon as you get here. And they didn't have any more Cadillacs, so they gave us a Buick or something. And we pull in this car that's going like this with and they said, well, wait, we can't trade the cars. You can't. And we just got in the car and ripped out of there and barely made it to the station on time.
Right.
Oh my God. That's incredible.
Yeah,
Yeah.
They never said anything about it.
Yeah, and I mean, it happened so fast, and we were so panicked. And if it hadn't happened, you talk about luck and timing. If it hadn't happened
Sure.
where we were able to just get off on an exit, hit the airport, and change cars, and make it on time. It was insane.
Now that's career devotion.
Well, yeah, career. Yeah, it is. Well, hey, listen, I think I call us lifers, man. That's what we do. I mean, it's, I don't know what else I would do. I've done other entertainment, things. I've scored for films and done all, but it's always been music for me. I don't know what else to do, what else I would do if it wasn't creative.
So great. That's such a blessing. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah.
And so at the top of the clip, I played the Rat Race song from Son of Homegrown, and I put some pictures up in it, and there's of course the pictures of the album cover. And man, what was that? 82? That record? 81,
something like that.
82?
Yeah.
Yeah. That was kind of the beginning of the end of it for me and the Long Island scene. Although I hung in for another, I don't think I officially left until the 90s, but there was other stuff going on. And 87 is when I met John at NAMM, and we became like fast friends. And it's nuts. I mean, it's believe me, just like you, it's been like, now that I look back, it's like, wow.
I know. But these things that we do that end up changing, our lives. Like you got out of Rat Race for whatever reason, but look what it turned into, and then it just continued to snowball. It's great stuff.
And you have to know yourself that if three other guys had the same opportunities that we had, they might not have handled them the same ways. And this was all meant to be. When you read the book, it's going to end the way it ends, no matter whether you read it or not. The ending's still in there. So and the thing about doing this particular show, I've connected with Tony, I told you, and Steve Stevens is an old friend from the neighborhood, Al Petrelli, who I know you know.
I love Al Petrelli, and Trans-Siberian Orchestra is in such good shape, despite Paul's death 3-4 years ago.
Yeah.
And it's largely because of Al.
Absolutely.
And the team there. I mean.
Yep.
You talk about Al Petrelli getting out of the Long Island clubs and really continuing to build on that success. Just it's another example of what you're talking about.
Yeah, and that was in the right place in the right time.
Yeah, that was.
He told us all about how that happened.
Yeah, it was. It's nuts. When you look at the chain of events that leads from one place to another, and I love that you just never know what's coming. This is the one business where, if you're 25, you're ready to retire, but if you want to do it for the rest of your life, you still can. And
it's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's very cool. And I love,
it wasn't always that way, because don't you remember when we were kids, we were always thinking, well, what's going to happen when we're 40, which of course is ancient.
Yeah.
You're a kid, 40 is old. And, but we always said, gee, because our parents when they got to be 40, their musical styles changed a little bit, and they got a little softer and a little more easy listening. That didn't happen with us.
No.
I mean, why did Pete Townsend write those songs about, when you get old, it's over. That's what we all thought. Everybody thought, like, nobody could imagine that that performers would still be performing in their 60s, no less 70s, and Ringo Starr just turned 80. So, and he's ready to walk out on a stage as soon as it's safe again. So what's going on. It's crazy. And
and I'll tell you about Ringo. That's John was in the All-Star Band, and Whistle was in the All-Star Band, and Mark Rivera was in the band, and I've had Mark on the show, and it's so amazing the things that lead to like a Ringo thing or whatever. And it was like my thing with Entwistle, that just blossomed into whatever it was. You think, well, how do people get these gigs? They don't get these gigs. The gigs come to them. That's it's kismet, or it's whatever. It's the universe working. It's not like I went out there and said, well, let me figure out how to play with the bass player of the Who. It doesn't go that way. You say you throw out your line, and you hope you hit a fish. And
that's right.
In the case of Entwistle, we were just like-minded. He was very frustrated with the Who not playing enough. I said an old adage. Entwistle would play at the opening of an envelope if there was somebody there to listen, and he loved to play. I remember the Who would play in '89. The Who played Giant Stadium. They did the Tommy thing, and I was there. And John said, "All right, let's go to La Bar, wherever we went. Where did we go? La Bar Bat, so that we could jam."
Bar Bat.
Yeah.
Yes, that was a very cool bar in Manhattan.
Yeah, the old media sound, but yeah, great bar in Manhattan. But it's just those kind of things, when you get somebody that wants the same things that you do, you go for it.
Right.
So are you, at Sirius, are you on air, or are you just,
And so they just sent this to me. Literally, I just got this in the mail the other day. It's looks like a sex toy, but in fact, it's a beautiful microphone.
Wow.
So that's the answer to your question. I'm really too busy to be on the air, but in January I'm going to do one show a week on Classic Rewind. Sunday nights. It'll be fun.
Be great.
Yeah.
That'll be fun.
Yeah.
That's cool, man. That's cool. It's it's so good. Think about it. Terrestrial radio is like, so I was friends with Brad Beasley when I was hanging out at their K-Rock down here, and man, it's tough. There's terrestrial radio,
and it wasn't even tough when you were hanging out with them by comparison to now. Now it's devastated. They've figured out, the corporate bosses, which is the Beasley family, the iHeart guys, the Entercom guys, and a couple others. They've figured out, and some of them haven't even gone public with this yet, but Entercom's figured it out and kind of gone public, and iHeart has kind of started the ball rolling. They've gone public with, hey, we're going to do national radio because we can't afford all these people in all these markets. So we're going to hire, for a classic rock format, we're going to hire 3 midday DJs. We'll split them up, and each of them will do 40 radio stations. Middays. So in other words, in San Diego, you're hearing the same thing as you're hearing in, Des Moines.
Right.
And that, they'll hire, 4 or 5 morning shows, split it up. 3. And it's like, that's scary. That's really scary.
Is that syndication?
It's syndication, but it's not syndication that is. Yeah, it's syndication by necessity. I mean, the big thing that they had was they could, work with the local advertisers and work with the local community, and every every market would be unique because listeners in, for example, San Diego are very different than listeners in, where you are in Florida.
Yeah.
So radio stations ought to tailor their playlist and their personalities to that market. Very local. That is pretty much gone for the future.
Wow. And, I got a whiff of that when I was down at Beasley. And because Brad was a friend, and, I'm curious, and I always want to know what's coming, you know what I mean? I always want to know what's going on. And I remember when the computer thing, whatever they call that thing, really started up, the thing that picks this, whatever the thing is I can't remember what they called it, something. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, the music scheduling software, or
the
actual, or the hard drive automation.
No, the music scheduling software.
Yeah,
right.
There's basically two kinds. There's Selector, G Selector, and there's Music Master. Those are the two big ones that we use.
I don't know which one Beasley had, but I remember everybody was all freaked out when it first started up, and there were all kinds of meetings and everything. It's like it's tough, but here's the beautiful thing about it.
It's like they got a drum machine.
Yeah, right. So it's like somebody getting a drum machine.
We don't need a drummer anymore.
You stay home, Steve. The thing about it is that you morphed, man. You went.
Yeah, I got lucky. The second round of layoffs at iHeart, I had already been at Sirius when that happened. And the program director at iHeart calls me up and says, I'm about to fire 10 people. And I'm calling you first to tell you that you are so lucky you got out when you did. Because when you got out, 9 months ago, the Sirius door opened 2 days later.
That's incredible.
I mean, again, luck and timing.
Yep.
Yeah, but let me speak to that a little bit, because my ego will not let me give it all to luck and timing.
That's true, of course, because you have to have the talent and the experience, and you have to be a good guy, right? John Entwistle would have kicked you out of the room if you had been an asshole. Of course, my point is, got to be a nice guy, got to be talented and experienced. But my point is, if you don't have the other two things, which are luck and timing, you're screwed.
Yeah.
Well, it's what I call, I liken it to 3 legs on a stool. You have to have the ability, you have to have the desire, and you have to have the opportunity. Without any of those, you take one of those away, and you can get along on 2. You can balance on 2 legs, but eventually it's not going to work.
Right.
Something's going to break. And in doing this show, talking to all my friends, guys that I haven't seen in 30 years, George Cintron, Randy Jackson was my first guest on the air. It's craziness. I've had Gelso on. I've had Rod Morgenstein on. It's been like, and this has just been
Buck Dharma?
Huh?
Buck Dharma.
Oh, right, yeah. Buck Dharma was on. I mean, I've had, it's all my Long Island friends. And it's amazing to see where everybody's gone and how they got there. And it all started in that one microcosm that was Long Island rock and roll. And, I talk to guys that, especially talking to Tony Bruno. He said, I remember the first time I ever saw Rat Race Choir, I was 15.
You were the first
and you
band
were the first band that I ever saw. And I was like, and he said, this is what I have to do. This is how good I am. And
isn't that great? That's a great feeling.
Great.
Yeah.
And it's, believe me, it's very satisfying. But like you, I had to roll with it. I mean, I had to go with the times. I mean, there were times when I had to create the work for myself. I remember in the 90s, in the early 90s, I tried my hand at being a venue owner. I was a partner in a venue, and there were parts of it that were great, And, there were 5 of us in it, so it wasn't like me 24 hours a day, but I'm not cut out for that.
No.
That's it's too weird. And you're dealing... And some of the acts that I had there, I had Howie Mandel when he was still doing the glove. I had...
Lisa and the Cult
Yeah,
Jam.
Lisa and the Cult Jam.
LA
I had
Guns.
L.A. Guns, but we also had Frankie Valli.
The Temptations.
And the Temptations. I got to sing My Girl with the Temptations.
That's great. It's good to be the owner.
Yeah, it's good to it's true. And that was just talk about right place, right time. I mean, I was such a huge Motown kid growing up, man.
That's great.
And the only one that
great.
was left of the Temps, the only one that was was Otis. But it was Otis.
Yeah.
And
Isn't that great?
Yeah, it was cool.
That's great.
It was cool.
Well, the worst thing about a business like that is the partnership, and because partnerships are difficult.
Yeah.
And, they just are. It doesn't matter how great the guys are. It just doesn't.
It doesn't.
The more partners you have, the more troubles you got.
The more egos you have.
I'll tell you. I'm going to tell you how it ended, because it was great, and it was perfect timing. And I had just started touring with Leslie West again, and I was about to do some more Entwistle stuff. It's 91, I think. And everybody had their thing. We all designed the place together. We all said, we should do this. I mean, we had pros, but we said, we dressed the place up. And it was like a giant China club with a balcony. It was an old movie theater with a massive stage, and we turned the whole downstairs into like levels of SRO, and then on the sides was all VIP, and then you had the whole balcony for seats. So it was and it was in Spring Valley, so great routing, right? I mean, wherever you're going.
Sure.
So my thing, the thing that made me valuable and made me be able to take a nice salary was I booked all the talent. I knew who would play. I knew, plus I knew all the agents. And so, and like I said, I compensated myself very well for it. And after about a year, my partner started to say, because things were falling off a little bit,
sure,
and they were starting to get...
That happens. Yeah. That happens.
You know what? We don't think... We think that we're willing to do the booking without you, and so that we can save on your salary. I said, you're going to do the booking without me and save on my salary? I said, that's fine. I said, you know what? I'll tell you what. If you guys buy me out even, you can take the whole thing. And they're like, right? So they buy me out.
Good for you. I already know how this story ends.
Okay, so now they said, well, can we have the numbers of the agents? And I said, well, it's not really right for me to do that, but I'll tell them that you're going to be calling and you'll come in on my coattails. And they said, great. So they're going to book everything in the world, and they wind up calling the agents, and the agents say, okay, and they book up their calendar, right? And they're thrilled. But then they realize they have to, in order to get contracts, they have to give 50% deposits, whereas I, industry professional and lifer, only had to give 10 points until the week of the show, and then give the other 40, then in the back, you know how it works. Sure. And so now all of a sudden these guys are having to put out $200,000-$300,000 in just deposits to keep anything on the calendar, and it wasn't 6 months until zip.
Yeah.
Boy.
Yeah.
So I know what kind of about the iHeart thing.
Yeah. It's just that, we're all naive enough to believe that on the level of an iHeart, that can't possibly happen because it's so big.
Mm-hmm.
But it's like any other business. It absolutely can and does. And these multi-billion-dollar businesses can go bad just as quickly as a mom and pop.
Yeah, and I remember when the transition went from all the local agencies or the regional agencies and what was it, Live Nation or whoever it was that did the initial gobbling up all the agencies. It was it's crazy. And now, so let me ask this, because obviously I don't have any idea what a program list is anymore. What happens with new music? how do they deal? How does Sirius deal with new music? I mean, does it?
Well, we have so many channels that there's a place for everything. That's the beautiful thing.
That is beautiful.
About Sirius. It's like, okay, if you have a Chinese language band that you need added, we probably have a channel for that. It's crazy. So yeah, new music has many ways of getting on the air at Sirius. In fact, we just mentioned Buck Dharma. I was able to play some of the new Blue Oyster Cult record on my classic rock channel.
Nice.
Because Buck was willing to come on with Eric Bloom and do a Halloween special. So we got to treat everybody to the new Blue Oyster Cult record a bunch of times, and it was nice.
Yeah, well, but that's, Buck is he's the perfect example of a guy who doesn't forget where he came from. And I got on a committee for a charity that got taken out of the game because of COVID, and they had to do a virtual fundraiser. And so they asked me if I would do the after party. Okay, not like I've never done one of those. So, and I called Buck up and I said, hey, man, can I play Lockdown Zilla? Did you see that thing that they did, Lockdown Zilla?
Oh, yeah.
And he said, yeah. He said, take anything you want from the new album and da-da-da-da. And so I had a blast. But that's Buck, right? I mean, and Eric, they're both guys from the island.
They are both great guys. Absolutely.
So,
yeah,
and those are the guys that you want. Like I said to Tony Bruno, I said, man, I feel so good when I hear that Al Petrelli's out west with, TSO, or this one's doing. I mean, it makes me feel great when I hear about somebody's success. And I've had so many of our friends on this show, like I said, George Cintron and Tommy Williams. I can't even remember half of the people. I've had like 50, 60, maybe, 60, 70 guests. I only do them 3 days a week. Mondays are just me being crazy, and Fridays, and you're invited any Friday, free for all Fridays. It's like anybody that has the key to get into the video chat, come in on Friday.
It's always Angus and Lenny from the Good Rats.
It's always Angus and Lenny from the Good Rats, and Booker King comes from the Trend, and it's amazing who pops in. It's nuts.
Would you tell Lenny that I said hello, please?
Absolutely.
I haven't talked to him in forever.
I will. He's okay. He's living in Antigua.
Yeah.
Oh my God, he's so much smarter than the rest of us.
Yeah, they sold their house and moved to Antigua.
I don't know. I don't know, because he's not playing. See, for me, I'd be going nuts.
Yeah, he's living a life of luxury.
Yeah, but
exactly. He's got a friggin' margarita going under a palm tree. I'll take that any day.
He's got it. I guarantee you, if that's what you want to do, Lenny's there waiting for you.
And his wife helps out straight
dogs. Gabrielle is like they're in paradise.
Yeah. He's here every Friday.
Yeah, he comes in every Friday. Like I said, I'll find out who's thinking about popping in tomorrow, and you're more than welcome. I know you're busy, unlike everybody else. You get to still be full time. And let me ask you that. As a band guy, guys always say, "Hey man, will you listen to my stuff?" It's like, I can't help you with your stuff. It's, your stuff competes with mine. I don't want it to be good. But, do people ever say, hey, how do I get a show? Do they say that? Or do you get that? Hey, man, I got an idea for a show?
Yeah. Yes. But they're not band members. Everybody has an idea for a show. You don't have to be in a band. And, okay, make a tape and present it, and I'll send it to the right guy. That's what I say. I'm dealing with the guy right now who wants to do a nostalgia show. And I mean, I don't do nostalgia. I play music.
Right.
But I'm sending him to one of the talk guys at Sirius. That's what happens, But you need to make a tape.
Yeah.
Of course you do.
You need to have a tape. You need to have something that you can, like, you can have all the talent in the world, but if you can't present it in the way that listeners will hear it, they'll never give you the green light.
Exactly. And believe me, I'm not setting you up for can I get a show. I've got a show. This is fun. This is fine.
That's right.
I got my own little satellite, and it's good here.
It's very nice.
Well, yeah, I'll tell you what this has led to, but I wanted to. Can you make a living in radio these days?
Sure.
I mean, like some guy comes up with an idea for a show.
Sure. Yeah, you can. But it's so dependent on what the idea is and what the platform is. So if you want to go to the top, I mean, obviously, there are many people who, unfortunately, despite their great talent, don't make a lot of money in radio. But then go to the other end. Go to the top of the top.
Well, yeah.
Go to a radio guy who makes more money than any television star that any of us have ever heard of.
Howard Stern.
And that's Howard Stern.
Yep.
We are about to pay him $120 million a year.
Wow.
Which is about $750,000 per show.
Wow.
Per show. There's no TV star, there's no movie star, there's certainly no radio star that has ever made money like that. It's because Howard has the platform. He created the platform. Sirius invested in him to do that. And so God bless Sirius, because without Sirius, Howard wouldn't be anything. And you could say that Howard is one of the key reasons Sirius is as big as it is. So yeah, you can make a ton, and then then you got the middle of the bunch, managers and stuff who do just great, So
well, it's communications, no matter what. I mean, it's communications, and we need that in the world, and people depend on it. But when you said Howard, I know a little bit about Howard. I'm going to tell you a story, a Howard story. 1987. I had met John in Nam, right? And I was there with Rat Race. Now, if you remember, Rat Race used to play we used to do the whole frickin' Tommy and everything. Live at Leeds,
sure.
Quadrophenia. So we get introduced to Entwistle outside of McCormick Place in Chicago, Summer Nam, 87. And I said to him, "You want to jam?" And he said, "Yeah, anytime." That's all he had to say. I went on the floor at NAM and said, "I'm playing with John Entwistle, and we'd like to jam." And they just cleared everything out of the way, and we wound up playing at the Vic Theater with Rat Race, and our bass player was the singer, so he sang. John played bass. He said, "What are we going to play?" I said, "We're going to play some Who songs." He said, "I don't know any Who songs." I said, "Well, we'll teach them to you." And anyways,
it had been years since he had played.
Yeah, so one thing led to another, and I get a call from K-Rock. Would John Entwistle like to do our K-Rock and Roll Up Your Sleeve blood drive in November? I said, yes, he would.
Is that the bottom line?
Absolutely, he would. But let me call him just to make sure. So I called him, blah, 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 blah. And they set up, they set the whole thing up. They get him his tickets, his hotel, the whole 9 yards. They even set us up with a ranch in South Jersey to rehearse for 3 or 4 days. And then we're going to do the blood drive at the bottom line, and K-Rock's going to broadcast it live. I think Meg Griffin was the host.
And I'm lucky enough that Meg works for me. She's my morning woman.
Oh.
Tell her that I said hello and send her all kinds of love.
She's terrific, and she'll be very happy to hear from you.
I love her, always have, always will. And, all right, so anyway, so she'll probably remember this. So I get a call while we're down at rehearsal, because now, I'm wearing all the hats. Because John doesn't trust anybody to do anything. I have to do everything, and I have to tell him what it is. So she says, we'll get a call from K-Rock. They want you to promote the blood drive on Howard Stern's show on Friday. Okay. So I said to John, when we get back from we have to leave rehearsal early because we have to do a radio in the morning. And he said, what radio? And I said, Howard Stern. He went, he's mean to people. And I said, no, don't worry, but it'll be fine. He's not mean to rock stars. You'll be fine. And I'll be there with you. It'll be fine. So we get to the Grand Bay in Manhattan at about 4, 5, and the limo shows up to pick us up at 7.
Yeah.
And Entwistle's like this, because, it's Entwistle.
Yeah, and he's not a morning person.
So we walk in the, I forget what they were, Infinity or whatever it was at the time, and we walk into, and the lights are like, it's like lights. It's not any place for a bass player with a hangover. And John's walking in like this, and Howard goes, John, hey, how are you doing, man? Why can't, come on in, John, do you know who you are? Come on in, right? And John kind of walks in like this and sits down in front of his mic, and there, everybody's there, Bob Upperweed, the whole crew. So he says to John, John, you okay? And John goes, and he said, can we get you anything? And he says, Howard says, John, this is radio. If you don't say something, people are not going to believe you're here. So I said, John, do your famous Scott Muni in the Morning imitation. And he goes, oh, fuck off, right? And Howard goes, that's great, John. You say 2 words and I got to bleep them both out. Thank you very much. That's great. It's great. Thank you very much. So
that's funny.
So, but
story.
I didn't get to the funny part yet. That's the kind of funny part. So Robin says, well, why don't we get John some coffee and talk to Steve? Uh-oh. Steve! So Howard says, so, Steve, what are you trying to get in the Who? And I said, no, this has nothing to do with the Who. I said, we formed a band and we're doing this thing and that's what it is. And so he goes, well, who's your favorite drummer? And I start to give him the 7:30 in the morning oration, the literate news answer. And Robin says, how do you like Rick Allen, the drummer from Def Leppard? And now I've realized, I'm really screwed here. So I said, well, Rick, Rick is, he plays different than I do. And and she goes, oh, you don't like him because he only has one arm? Well, I said, well, he gets his sticks for half price. And Howard says, that's pretty cold, Steve. I'd like to see you play with one arm. I said, Howard, go get me one. I'll play with it. And
it was nice to him.
And I wound up doing his birthday parties, and I went on the bus with him and Jessica Hahn down to Philly to bury the zookeeper. We became good friends after that.
Oh, isn't that great?
Oh, it was funny. And
I love that.
It was great. And John finally woke up, and there was a bass there, and he goes, what's that bass doing here? And Howard said, well, I wrote a song. And he said, well, I don't know how it goes. He said, yeah, you do. You just play Behind Blue Eyes, right? And so Fred's playing Behind Blue Eyes on a 12-string really well, and John's playing the bass, and I have a little Casio keyboard with some kind of stupid drums on it, and Howard is singing Behind One Eye as Sammy Davis Jr. No one knows what it's like to be Sammy. I tell you, Mammy, behind one eye. And I have to send you. I have an air check. I have to send it to you.
That's so funny.
Oh, it's good.
God,
it was
that's
fun.
Great.
Yeah, yeah.
That is terrific.
So yeah, and it's
Wow.
Yeah. So
well, there's only one Howard Stern.
Yep.
But there is no answer to your question about radio.
I get
you
that.
Can make, you honestly can make a fantastic living in radio. You really can. It's just, unfortunately, there aren't enough jobs for the very talented people that are out there.
Yeah.
So that means the salaries are low on the low end.
Yeah.
On the low end, they're pretty low.
Well, I guess it's the same thing as the music business. Can you make a living in the music business? Yeah, absolutely you can.
Yeah.
Is it easy? No. Well, maybe. It depends. You know what I mean? You got to get into
I would say it's exactly like the music business. I would say it's exactly.
Yeah, heavily impacted by trends and waves, and well, listen, the truth is, and this, you're the living proof of it. If you've got the goods to make the transition to whatever's coming next, you'll always work. And, you know, if you're good at what you do and you love what you do and people get that from you, that's really all you need to succeed at anything. You know, that and, you know, a little wink from God, maybe.
Right.
But all
Exactly.
good. All very good, man. I'll tell you, I hope we can do this again. I really do. This was a lot of fun. And
Thank you for the invitation.
We didn't even scratch the surface. So I'll be getting my tape together no. I'm kidding. But, yeah, you know, and I've talked to Steve. I talk to Steve Ferroni all the time. He loves doing what he's doing. I mean,
Yeah.
you know, I haven't heard his show yet because I sold the Porsche, but hopefully whatever I replace it with will have
We need you to be, we have to hit 800,000 new subscribers this year.
Okay.
Even in an off year. So yeah, we need your subscription. Would you make
All
a
right.
phone call
All right.
quick?
Okay.
Nickel and dime them. They'll bring the rate down.
Excellent, man. This is, well, I hope you will come back, because I think your contribution, we didn't even touch on it, to the industry and to Long Island music, in, you know, just those homegrown albums, which we didn't even get to talk about, that made a lot of noise for a lot of guys. I mean, you think about the bands that were on there and what happened
Yes.
yeah, crazy.
Yeah, no, it's great. It's really great. Yeah, it's really great what came of all of that. And, you know, obviously we only looked at it from our very narrow radio standpoint as this is great for our audience.
Mm-hmm.
So the more we invested in it for our own reason, which is to bring it to people on Long Island, the better the bands did. So it was a win-win-win for everybody. And the better the clubs did, and the more advertising revenue we got from the club owners.
Yeah.
So in other words, it was a win-win-win-win-win-win all the way down the line.
Yeah,
It was great.
And the truth of the matter is, besides the single that Rat Race released in 81 or 82, the Homegrown album is the only other piece of recorded work that we did. Besides, I think we did one for PDH upstate as well. And I'm thrilled that they're there, because that's, no matter what, it's there. And that's
right.
You know, and part of a very important time. And if I was ever going to pitch you on a show, it would probably be on the Long Island music scene. But, you know, you don't have to worry about that for a while. It's incredible. And we came, in doing my show, it really gave me a perspective on what we were all a part of back then. It was as significant as Haight-Ashbury or, you know, the Valley or any other thing that went on in music.
Sure.
And huge. So now, my
Yeah.
friend, now we get to the all-important questionnaire, which I've had to modify slightly, because needless to say, we don't have to pick out your favorite instrument or whatever. But going back and forth, you know, you're a well-traveled guy. Favorite restaurant when you're traveling, out on the road? Because you've done enough remotes that you get to qualify as on the road.
Yeah. Well, on a road trip, this is my favorite right here.
Oh,
Yeah.
the friend of the hurricane.
That's right.
Look, let me tell you something. When you're driving from New York to Florida,
Yep.
and there's a Waffle House at every exit on each side,
Yep.
you turn right, and you got a Waffle House. If you turn left on the freeway, there's a Waffle House. Every single, and I'm telling you something, I'm a breakfast guy.
Yep.
That's it. So I said, I'm an honest guy, right? I don't steal. I try to, because I believe you will get caught.
Oh, you will.
Especially in today's world, you will get caught if you do anything wrong.
That's
There's a
right.
camera everywhere. But they don't sell these mugs. How is it that I have it? Well, I said to the waitress, I have to have this mug. You don't understand. Waffle House is my favorite thing. And in New York, we don't have Waffle Houses.
Right.
So I have to have this mug. How much does it cost? And she says, we don't sell the mug. So I said, are you sure you don't sell the mug? She says, yes. No price. I can't do anything for you except leave you a nice tip. And she said, You can't buy it. I said, fine. I left her and I stole the friggin' mug.
Hey, listen, that's okay. And
because she could have broken it.
that's right. She could have dropped it, and believe me.
Could have broken it.
There.
And is that the only one that you have?
Yes.
All right, because I'll go work my Waffle House and see if I can get you a mate for it.
Thank you. It'll be his and hers then.
Yeah,
We have one 10 minutes.
Yeah,
down
we
the
have
street.
one 10 minutes down the street.
Love it more than life.
Oh, yeah, and I get that.
Yeah, and on our trips from New York to Florida, we have stopped at many Waffle Houses.
Yes, we have done many Waffle Houses. Many Waffle Houses.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And, to that point, Cracker Barrel is another one, good one. We have one of those down the street. That was John. We did the Cracker Barrel tour one. He found out about Cracker Barrel meatloaf. And anytime anybody said, who's hungry? Cracker Barrel. We did the Cracker Barrel tour. But another story.
Yeah.
So, okay, now, usually I ask my musician guests favorite song to play live, but I would have to modify that question, and the most significant song that you ever played on the radio that went on to do favorite song, whatever. I love when this song came out. Something.
Yeah. So I guess it would be based on the way you just framed that question. Because if it was favorite song I ever played on the radio, or I often play on the radio, it depends on my mood. It could be a Zeppelin record, it could be a Steely Dan record. But the way you frame that question, the answer is because all of us, and I mean all of us, everybody probably watching this now and everybody who was back in time then in the early 80s, it would have to be Zebra. Because when we played that Zebra record, we knew that we, all of us, the fans, were all responsible for that record going on Atlantic Records. So that was my favorite record to ever play.
Excellent. That's perfect. That's a perfect answer.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And man, just to give you a little 360 degrees, the last gig that I played was with a band called Dr. Hobbs, which was me, Randy Jackson, and Larry Hobbs.
Who's a doctor?
Who is a doctor. Because you have to be in a band. I have to be in a band. And Randy he's what a guy, what a great guy to be in a band with. He's just such energy and so focused on every aspect of the show. We did 2 shows, and it was amazing. So I have to be in a band.
He is quite a guy.
He is a good guy.
I was lucky enough. He came to my wedding, and he stepped up on stage with the band and played some. It was the big guys from Ambrosia. You know the band Ambrosia?
David Pack is...
not David Pack.
Oh, not David Pack.
David is up at a winery in
he's in Napa.
Yeah.
Right. But all the other guys,
okay,
Joe and all the other guys were my wedding band.
Wow.
And so Randy Jackson's at the wedding. He gets up and teaches them in front of all the wedding guests how to play Zebra songs.
I can see that.
That's great. Yeah, I can see that.
How to play they played a Zebra song and a Zeppelin song. And this is Ambrosia. It was really great.
That's funny.
Yeah.
That's funny. Yeah, I talk to Pac pretty regularly. He's
do you?
They toured together.
Yeah, we toured together. We did the last tour that I did with John before he passed was an international tour called A Walk Down Abbey Road, and it was me and Alan Parsons and Ann Wilson and John and David Pack, Todd Rundgren. And we played some of everybody's material, and then the second set was all Beatles. It was like a walk down Abbey Road.
Yeah.
And so Pac, I mean, good old David.
Yeah, he loved Steve's shirts. I don't know if you.
Yeah. Did you know that I did a fashion line or any of that stuff?
I did not.
It's okay. Believe me, this is not the end of anything. This is the beginning. But
that's great.
Yeah, I'll give you the 411.
I love it.
Yeah, and I'll text you some stuff, and what I've been doing. It's very funny because all the old Rat Race, the fans of Rat Race, Tony, Al, Steve Stevens, all the guys that used to come to see us play. Some of them, we were their first band. I'm sending them all tracks because when I started doing this show, I started digitizing all my videos and stuff from back in the day, and that's what I was doing, telling a story, playing a thing. So I'm sending. I'll send you a couple. It'll jerk your head around.
That's great. Love it.
Okay, so when it was in rotation, see, I'm modifying my questions. When it was in rotation, the song that you never want to ever have to spin again because it was just that song.
It's just burnt out in my mind, and I'm so sick of it. There's a bunch of those. It might be, oh God. It's hard to say. I would say, I'll probably be able to, next time I come on, I'll have a better answer. But right now, I would say, Human League's Don't You Want Me, Baby.
Oh, I know that one.
Yes, yes, I do.
Well, it's catchy when you hear it once a year.
Yeah.
It's catchy. But when you play it more than that.
Oh, shit, that's a good one, man.
80s.
80s, yeah, I don't know what happened to the 80s. It's like... But hey, listen, you know what? And you know the other question. Well, I could ask you the other question. You won't be able to do a show with anybody living or dead. But if you could play an instrument in a rock band or in any band, maybe it's a didgeridoo, maybe you want to be a solo artist. What instrument do you think you'd like to be amazing at?
Well, I really think I thought about this. I really think the bass.
Bass.
Yeah, I really think the bass guitar. I know you're kind of partnered with the drummer, which is why you and Entwistle had such a great relationship.
Yeah.
For one of the many reasons. But I really think the bass would be my thing.
Well, that's a great answer, and I can tell you, I played with at least 3 Hall of Fame bass players. Played with Jack Bruce, played with Cliff Williams from AC/DC, and of course John. And it's an instrument that's still pretty wide open. It's a good choice. It's a good choice. But I'll give you some bass witticism, and we'll end it on the high note. This is a little advice. Should you ever find yourself in a recording studio mixing the bass guitarist tracks? I was in England mixing one of the Entwistle records, and John came into the control room, and I was trying to place the bass in the mix. And I couldn't decide, I wanted it to be loud. I couldn't decide whether it was too loud or not. And so he comes in the room, he goes, "How's it going?" And I said, "I'm having a hard time with the bass. I can't be sure if it's too loud or not." He said, "Well, that's easy. Turn it up, then you can be sure."
That's funny.
Yeah, it's funny. He was great. Yeah. And you are great, Bob Buchmann, man. This is a conversation long overdue, and thank you for sharing your time with us, man. This has just been really, really cool. We haven't scratched the surface.
Great. Well, Steve, it's been a treat for me. Thanks for the invitation. We'll have to do it again.
We will do it again, and we'll go Aston Martin shopping the next time I'm in your neighborhood.
I'll tell you what, they lent me a car for 3 days. Aston Martin, like the company.
Wow.
The sticker was still on the back left window. $280,000.
I know.
And I was like, holy moly, this is incredible.
Yeah.
This is insane.
And I'll tell you it's an interesting story. When I bought mine from Brian Johnson, and I sold my Corvette when I came down here, and I knew I wanted to get into, some exotics and stuff and so on and so forth. And I knew that Johnson was a race car driver, and he's, very knowledgeable about cars. And I said to him, "Brian, man, I'm looking for a car." I was at his house. I said, "I'm looking for a car. I'm thinking about the Jaguar XKR. And he said, "Oh, no, me son. Come with me." And he takes me down the stairs, and we walk into his carport, and there's my car sitting there. And he goes, "This is what that's pretending to be." So I said, "Well, okay, great, And he said, "Well, listen, me son. Take it home
Right. I'm going to London for
I'm
a
going
month.
to London for a bit. I'll be back in a month or so. Take it home.
See if you like it.
See if you like it. If you do, you keep it.
And we left our car
And
there.
I left. You can't make this stuff up, man. But
That's awesome.
Yeah, and
That's so awesome.
It was fun. I mean, they're great. I mean, they're just, 3 days is more than enough.
Great.
But I will tell you this. When you get to 30,000 miles, the service is $7,500.
Yeah.
Just saying.
No, I got it. I got a buddy with a Porsche, and you have a Porsche now, don't you?
I had. We sold it, but yeah.
I have a buddy with a Porsche. $5,000 every time it goes in the dealer. $5,000, like clockwork.
Oh yeah.
Like that's bullshit. It's crazy.
$400 for a replacement
Yeah,
key.
a replacement key.
Yeah.
$400 on the Mercedes. Almost $500 for a replacement key.
Yeah, but we had to get one for the Porsche, remember?
Oh, that's right. We had to get it for the
Yeah.
Porsche, and that wasn't even one of the really crazy
No,
ones.
that was just a key.
Hey, listen, these are the kind of problems that I'm grateful to have.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah,
Amen.
all
Amen.
very good. Amen is right. And man, I'm happy for all your success, and it's so good to see you, and you look great. So keep
Yeah,
up.
and he has a beautiful wife. I've seen her on
Ah.
Facebook. Yeah.
Thank you
She looks like a
very
movie
much.
star.
I appreciate that.
How long you married now, Bob?
Married 4 years.
4 years.
Yeah, congratulations.
God bless, man. That's great.
Beautiful.
That's a good
Thank you
start.
both. How long are you both together?
Married 36, together 39.
What?
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it was perfect. Talk about timing. Because I knew Lori when she was going out with Felix back in the day.
I'm from New Orleans.
From New Orleans,
Yeah.
when Zebra came up to open for Rat Race, that's
That's how we met.
And we were friends because Zebra was opening for us, and we'd just talk on the breaks. And
He had good pot.
I had good pot, yeah.
Yeah.
She was smoking that Mexican dirt weed in Louisiana, so I had to hook a girl up. But and we became friends. And then one year she came up to watch them light the Rockefeller tree. I guess that would just be about almost 40 years today. And I said, "Come on by." And she never left.
I was broken up with Felix.
Yeah,
and
she
he
was broken up with
yeah.
Felix. I was broken up with my girlfriend. It was just perfect timing.
Yep,
So,
and I stayed with him for the weekend and never
yep,
left.
stayed for the weekend and never left.
Yeah.
Love that. Great
Yeah.
story.
So I wish you that
All right,
kind
guys,
of
well,
success.
listen, happy Thanksgiving. So great to
Happy
reconnect.
Thanksgiving.
You too, bro. God bless. We will talk again soon, and if you're inclined, we have some Friday madness going on.
Right, and we'll tell Lenny
to know,
hi if
Steve.
you don't come.
Yeah, and I'll reach out to Lenny for you first thing.
Thank you.
All right, man.
Bye, Bob.
Good to see you, Bob.
Bye,
Thank you
guys.
again.
Always a pleasure.
Pleasure was ours. Thanks. Well, how cool is that?
Very cool.
That's, no, not that one, Steve.
He's a legend.
He is a legend.
Yes, he is.
And, that station, BAB, back in the day, did a lot for musicians,
Yep.
us musos.
Right.
Equinox was on that record. Craziness.
Yeah, Zebra was on it.
Zebra was on it. But I didn't get to play my new commercial. What am I going to do about that?
I played some
That's the
songs.
wrong commercial. Oh, not this one. No. Oh, well. Sale. Hit the wrong button. A short commercial. Short. But we are having a sale.
Yes, we are.
No code. You don't have to put in a code. You don't have to be a scientist. Just go there, buy stuff. All reduced. And the thing about, well, go look. Go to the website. Please. Buy a present for someone. Buy a present for yourself. Comes in a beautiful blue box. It really does come in a cool box. And anyway, I don't want to go out on an infomercial.
You just did. See, out of TV.
Yeah, and you know what? I looked at it the minute, and I knew it. Thank you, TV. And that's John Laterra, my God. How long?
TV John.
Yeah, TV John. 74. The year I got my Corvette. That's 1974 BL. Before Lori.
That's right.
We drove Corvettes around together. Idiots. We were idiots. We used to, not John, but when we started making money in rat race, everybody bought a sports car. So, and CB radios were big back then. CB radio. So, don't worry about the gas prices. Let's just all drive our own car and talk to each other on the CB radio. But you had to be within a mile of one another back then.
Oh yeah, that's how it worked.
Yeah, I mean, what if you had sideband or short wave? But no, yeah, I mean, so you can see everybody. Breaker, breaker.
Good buddy.
Good buddy.
All right, time for dinner, good buddy.
Okay, good buddy. That was Bob Buchmann. Wow, that's great, and I really am. I'm thrilled to hear that he's a talented guy, and I'm really glad to know that.
Sirius XM.
Yeah, Sirius XM. And maybe I will pitch him for a show. Nah, it's not my thing, but can't hurt thinking about it.
We need TV.
He does what?
We need a television show.
No, I know that, but maybe I'll just create a show and give it to somebody else.
There you go.
That'd be fun.
Okay.
All right, so Walter and I.
Chicken.
What?
Honey garlic chicken.
Honey garlic chicken.
Woo!
That sounds nasty. Honey garlic chicken? You bet. Okay, so that's it.
See you tomorrow.
See you tomorrow.
Free for all Friday.
Oh, Free for All Friday. Yeah, bring your helmet. Now plug that hat box in. Plug the hat box in now. Go ahead. Up, up. Oh, that's the bass drum. Hey!